Hi, it's Galahad here and you're watching another episode of History Telling. Today I want to tell you about the depiction of the unicorn in the Middle Ages. The unicorn is a mythical creature created by humans thousands of years ago. Despite such a long history, its main characteristics have remained unchanged. Its image has accompanied us in literature and art. It is not known how exactly the unicorn appeared in human culture. It is speculated that it could be based on real animals. The ancestor of the rhinoceros, Elasmotherium sibilicum, may have been one of the models, as it died out only about 37,000 years ago. This means that it may have coexisted with humans in Eastern Europe and Central Asia for some time. Modern rhinoceros species are also associated with the figure of the unicorn by some researchers. Other candidates for the real-life unicorn are antelopes and aurochs. The unicorn as a motif was present on many continents. On the seals of the Indus Valley civilization appeared an animal resembling a horse with one horn. Seen in profile, however, it could represent an extinct species of aurochs. The unicorn was also present in ancient China, where it was associated with masculinity and fertility. For the ancient Greeks and Romans, the unicorn was a creature of great strength, speed and ferocity, which made it impossible to catch or kill. In addition, the animal caused fear with its terrifying roar. The only way to hunt it down was to use a maiden. The creature calmed down and fell asleep on her lap. In the 2nd to 4th century, the image of a unicorn was enriched with a Christian perspective. In the text of the Physiologus, the unicorn became a symbol of Christ.
This animal can be compared to the person of the Savior. He has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, and became a horn of salvation for us. Angels and powers could not defeat him, but he dwelt in the womb of a truly pure Virgin Mary. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us.
Thus, in this image, Jesus is the unicorn and the Virgin Mary is responsible for his passage to the mortal world. Later versions of the Physiologus also speak of the healing and sanctifying powers of the unicorn and its horn.
There is a large lake in the area where it lives. Animals gather around it to drink. Before they arrive, a snake appears and releases venom into the water. The animals see the poison and dare not to drink it, but wait for the unicorn. Having arrived, it immediately enters the lake and makes the sign of the cross, destroying the power of the poison. When the unicorn drinks water, all the other animals start drinking too.
In the ancient times and then in the early Middle Ages, wild boar hunting was held in high esteem, also among the aristocracy. However, at the turn of the 13th and 14th centuries, laws were introduced in France establishing hunting grounds intended only for rulers. This meant that hunting animals, such as deer, roe deer or fallow deer, requiring large spaces, became impossible for ordinary landowners, who focused their hunting on wild boars. Consequently, the rank of this game among the aristocracy declined. The church also played a role in this. Ill-disposed to any kind of hunting, it was particularly unfavorable about hunting wild boar. Such hunts, uncontrollable and brutal, often resulted in many casualties also among the hunters. The deer, on the other hand, gained a religious character at that time and became a symbol of, among others, the 10 Commandments, Holy Baptism, Passion, Resurrection, and eventually even began to be identified with Christ himself. Legends about Saint Eustace or Saint Hubert depicted a deer with a cross between its horns. It was supposed to convert the hunters attacking it to Christianity. In the 15th century in France, wild boar was hunted almost exclusively by professional hunters, leaving the deer to princes and kings. They began to be presented as beautiful and dignified animals, and hunting them became a grateful and noble act. And it was the deer that became one of the foundations of an important unicorn motif in medieval art, the hunt of the unicorn. The creature was already associated with Christ. Now, however, at the end of the Middle Ages, it took over many features of the deer, including nobility, beauty, and it became even more popular. One of the facts that were supposed to prove the existence of the unicorn were the spiraled tusks of narwhals, found on the northern shores of the Atlantic Ocean. Due to the healing properties associated with them, they cost a fortune back then. This fact was to be used by the Vikings, who imported tusks from Greenland. Around the year 1500, there were about 50 such tusks in Europe. One of the owners were the rulers of Poland. Thanks to the inventory lists of the treasury at Wawel Royal Castle, we know that in 1475, during the reign of Casimir IV Jagiellon, there was one unicorn horn in its storehouse, in 1510 2, and in 1532 3. The unicorn motif reached the peak of its popularity at the turn of the 15th and 16th century. From this period come such famous works as the series of tapestries, The Lady and the Unicorn and The Hunt of the Unicorn. Retables with a unicorn motif were also popular. One of them is the polyptych of the Annunciation with the Unicorn from the National Museum in Warsaw. Wait a minute, Annunciation with the Unicorn? This intriguing motif appeared in the 15th century and became popular especially in Germany. It combined the earlier motif of hunting with the biblical motif of the Annunciation of Mary. Archangel Gabriel, as a hunter with a horn and sometimes with hunting dogs, approaches Mary, who accepts and seizes the unicorn, thus allowing Jesus Christ to be born. The decisions of the Council of Trent from 1545 to 1563 brought an end to the unicorn as an allegory of Christ. To this day, about 30 retables and many book illustrations with such motif have been preserved. The medieval motif of the unicorn is interpreted in many ways, both secular and religious. For Christians, it may be an allegory of Jesus Christ, and for others, an image of a lover looking for his mate. Probably all such allegories existed. Combining secular and religious symbolism was not unheard of in the Middle Ages. That's all I wanted to tell you in today's episode. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell and rate the video. See ya!